Oh, I can hear the microphone working. That's great. Barbara, thank you very much for that. And thank you to you, Michael, and all the rest of the Spectronics team for bringing me over here and giving me an opportunity to get some new Beanie Babes. I have everything that I need. I have some chocolate, which is good because I probably need that walking up and down. I have some water because I'll probably dehydrate. And I have a piece of paper which somebody gave me this morning which says, please stand still and please don't swear. I can't promise either, really, so I'll bugger it anyway. Today we're going to talk a little bit about an inclusive classroom. And I entitled this presentation, Keys to Unlocking Potential. It's a bit of a mismatch, really, of some experience and some new thinking in the way that certainly we and I work with children with severe and complex difficulties. What's an inclusive classroom? An inclusive classroom is a place where everybody gets challenged, everybody gets to take part. This is uppermost in my mind, and it was hammered home maybe 8 years ago when I was sat in my classroom feeling very, very proud of myself that I'd managed to get 13 children sat down actually working. 13 children from green class. When you first go to work in special schools, usually you get green class or your equivalent of it. These are children for whom their primary target is to stay on a chair for more than 30 seconds and not to stab anybody. And I was feeling particularly proud of myself because I had this whole group of children all busy working. I had a group of children over here and they're using their switches and using early switch-it programs. And I've got another group of children over here with their touch screens, touching things and making wonderful things happen. Another group of children with a roller ball and they're busy clicking things, whacking balls and all manner of stuff. Another little group of children with their keyboard with a program called Pod. Remember Pod? Jesus, Pod. Pod can pop. Well, whoopee-doo. And I was feeling really, really proud of myself. I'm looking around thinking, this is great. And then I realized I was supposed to be teaching history. And it struck me at that point that technology is great, but it needs to be what we do rather than doing things because of the technology. The classic example of that, I think, in the UK now is interactive whiteboards. Every class in the UK now has an interactive whiteboard. They're great, honestly. My school had one 13 years ago. Think about that in technology terms. Technology doubles. Its capacity, its power doubles every 18 months. 13 years ago, we got our first smartboard, and we brought it from Canada. And we knew what it was. It was a great big old touchscreen. It had some problems, little shadows and things, and some of the kids couldn't reach it, but it was great. We loved it. And then very slowly, the rest of the country followed our lead. Well, I like to think so. And I go around now into special schools, and I visit special schools every single day of the week, usually. And I see people using interactive whiteboards. I see children doing all manner of wonderful stuff on them. I see lots of children in wheelchairs doing wonderful stuff on them with stuff like this. They get to bang them and make noises on them. I see children who can't move their arms and their legs looking at them. And teachers teaching group lessons around them. And it strikes me that in classes like that, where people are teaching like that, they're teaching because the technology is dictating how they teach. And the first lesson that we learnt about interactive whiteboards in Priory Woods was that actually it's just another tool, that all of our children have individual needs. And as a teacher, that's how I trained. That's how every single day I taught in my class. Every child has individual needs. We meet their needs. We teach them a curriculum. We don't do it in a particular way because a particular piece of technology tells me that I should. Wouldn't it be great if we could go into a classroom where children were just able to do stuff And it didn't matter whether it's the child that can get up and touch the touch screen and move things around and do it on the interactive whiteboard, or the child who needs to press a switch can just press their switch and have their go, and the child who uses a rollerball can just move their rollerball and have their go. And everybody gets to take part in that lesson. And the software that we use isn't switch software, it isn't touchscreen software, it's just software. It's just good software that works with switches, it works with rollerballs, it works with interactive whiteboards. And that's the goal. That's what an inclusive classroom is. It's also other things. It's also changes in the way that we teach. And it's very, very important. I'm going to show you a slide. I'd like you to take just a couple of minutes just to read what it says. My voice is getting croaky. More gin, I think I need. Michael, can you hear that sound? The sounds of hearts sinking. The smell of despair in this room as people reading that slide. This slide, I stole this slide from a lady who came to my school to talk about how ICT can empower our kids. She started with that slide. I was almost asleep before I got to the bottom. She had no idea about what ICT was for the kind of kids that we teach. ICT for the kind of kids that we teach is something completely different. So we told her that ICT needed to be a few things. It needed to be motivating. Look at that alien. That alien was created for one little girl who had autism, who really lived her life here and didn't really interact with anybody at all. And we needed something so punchy, so powerful that she would drag her out of her little world and come and spend some time with us. And that alien did it. ICT is an incredibly motivating tool for some children, incredibly motivating. Our kids are much, much more likely to want to interact when they're using ICT than they are with other things. It needs to be memorable. That's our goal as teachers, isn't it? To give children knowledge and help them retain that knowledge. Give them skills that they're able to retain. I put this little smiley face by the side of memorable. On Tuesday, when we did our very small hands-on workshop, I was asked by lots of people afterwards about a particular resource that I showed, and it was obvious that that resource was obviously very memorable for some of the people that were there. So I thought I would just share it with you. I'm not really sure why it was so popular, but maybe you'll be able to tell me. See if you can pick me out. Yeah, that illustrates a lovely point, that if you're going to make activities, teach learning activities for somebody, you need to make things that they're interested in. If you want somebody to press a switch, make something that they're interested enough to press it. Give them a reason to do it. Half the women in this room, if I gave them a switch now, would probably press it to watch that again. Half the men would probably throw the switch away, feeling as inadequate as I do right now. It needs to be inclusive, and that's what I was talking about a few minutes ago. We need to make sure that the kind of software that we have in school works with everything, that we're not having to have children do stuff just because they use a particular bit of kit. If you use a switch, you should be able to learn literacy in the same way that the kid who doesn't use a switch does. And you can do that. It's not hard. Use things like PowerPoint, switches.